letting that $2.99 warm up a bit. It's pretty cool out, 19 degrees. Had some freezing rain last night. Everything's kind of got a little glaze of ice on it. Kenny and Mike are headed over there to that corner. We're on a different job, by the way. We're in Platte City, Missouri today. We had to come up here and kind of get started on this deal too. We're going back to Higginsville, but we needed to come up here and drop a few trees on this to kind of get this ball rolling. Everything we can do the next couple days up here, we can do with the skid steer and the brush grapples while I have it. These trees are going to fall back in their cornfield. So what we're going to do is have the grapple on, and we'll rake up all the brush and debris, get it cleaned up real nice out of the field there, and we'll pile that debris back along the fence line in the timber. Then we'll pack the logs out to a solid area where we can load them. But that old girl's got to warm up a little bit. Hopefully she's not frozen to the ground. It's always kind of a risky run, it seems like, up in here when you get muddy, then freeze, and muddy and freeze. But it should warm up there after a bit and break loose, and we'll get over there and get to work. If not, I'll get to do a bunch of cutting today myself. A lot of timber here, pretty good sized farm. I don't know how many acres it is. Probably 400 anyway, I'd say, spread out. So it'll be a good job. It's kind of like everything right now. You're kind of racing against spring, which they've still got a lot of snow on the ground up here with more on the way. But we've got to get all this timber around their crop fields cut before planting season, which hopefully if they're planting beans this year, if they're rotating crops, that'll give us a little longer than if they're going back with corn, which I don't know what their planting system or schedule's like up here on that, their rotations. But we'll definitely get in here and get it knocked out as quick as we can. So we'll let this warm up, then we'll hook up to the grapple here. We'll go start piling some brush and packing some logs. Now these, it's cold out, and when it's cold, these trees are pretty brittle. And they're falling right out here. These are good trees, big trees, grow right here on the edge of this cornfield. Right next to this draw, there's just pockets of them all up through this area. Now what we're doing is when these are cut, we're going through here and cutting the top up. Then I'm coming through with the grapple, and we're raking the ground of all these little limbs, pieces of debris. And Kenny's getting ready to cut one right now. Go ahead and lower this so you can see a little better. But once I get this stuff bunched up in the grapple, I'm just making a pile right up there on the back side of that draw close to the fence, where it's not going to interfere with their row crops, keeping things nice, clean, and tidy. You won't even know we were here when we were done. There will be no debris in the field. Trees will be harvested. And just like a few weeks ago, I think, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a farmer, I'm not a row crop guy, but I think that the farmers benefit from harvesting some of these trees along their fields like this, especially if there's wet areas. Especially in the summertime, you're getting rid of the tree and the canopy. You're taking away less competition, or taking away more competition, should I say, from your crops by eliminating the trees that are taking water and nutrients out of the ground, or your fertilizers as well. And like I said, I'm not a farmer. Don't know much about farming other than what I learned in my FFA classes in high school. Those were really the only classes I ever paid attention to be honest with you. I wasn't much of a scholar. But just instances like this is where these skid steers and grapples come in so handy. It's less work on the ground for myself or Kenny or Mike or our dad picking up this fine brush, when you can jump on this machine, make one pass, and you've raked the 90 to 95% of it up in the grapple. Then you just that quick take it off the field, and then not only we can pack these logs with the grapple as well. So we'll pack these logs, we're bucketing them to length as we go, and we'll pack them to a landing. That way they can be ready to be loaded out. Several trees cut down through here. Be a good day of it. Getting to be a pretty good bunch of them right here. One getting ready to come down now. They're bringing that one over with a wedge there, driving it back this way. See, just a small area, several logs out of those few trees that were in there. Good sized trees, growing tall, straight. It's pretty good for just a little area. Of course, the cleanup, I'm sweeping all this up back and forth. See Kenny, he's pounding on that wedge now. But yeah, sweeping all this up with the grapple. I've got to sweep that real good where the logs are at, because these trees, we're bringing them back this way and they're reaching out here. Of course, the snow's starting to fall now. But I think our client, I think they'll be extremely happy with the cleanup on this. That was their main concern on this job of timber, was the cleanup along their crop fields. And I assured them we'd do a stand-up job on it, and that's what I intend to do. Kenny's got Mikey there banging on the wedge now. There we go. Here she comes. Here she comes. The property line's just right up there, not too far. That's a heck of a stand of timber right in there. That's all walnut up through there. That is a really good stand of timber. We're going to try to buy that while we're here. That's a good job, but like I said, I'm extremely happy. You look at the log pile here. The size of some of these logs that are coming out of this little area. I mean, there's going to be a few thousand feet of logs just right here. So there's still one or two more to cut right here before we start working our way back to the south. Pretty good little bunch. Packing the last log out now from up here in this little corner. Got everything cleaned up pretty good. They're all raked up there. Hard to tell, there were 6 trees that fell out in here. 2 brush piles. Raked up real good. Let's get this one out. It's about lunchtime. Take it in high gear. This farming up here is pretty dynamic, how it all works. These hills, all the terraces and waterways and drain tile. A pretty neat deal. Anyway, we got several left to cut in that fence row. Kenny was cutting right over there on that little hillside, you can see. I think a lot what's left in that fence row, we need to pull them back away from the old fence, which that fence isn't too much, but we still don't want to put stuff over on the neighbor if we don't have to. And if we do, we'll pull it back across. Pretty good pile of logs already. I can lower the boom here. That old piece of wood's heavy. It's a big log. Yeah, several more to cut here. By the end of the day, we should have, I would think, 6,000 to 7,000 feet. Pretty easy. Which I think is pretty good for logging with the skid steer here, because it's usually pretty slow going when you're trying to do everything with a skid steer. You can get stuff done, but it's nothing like the skidder. But there's so much cleanup we got to do. That's why we got to have the skid steer here handy. Back from lunch. Cutting over here on another one of these draws. And normally I don't like to take any of these skid steers in the timber. I don't like to scratch them up. I don't like to tear them up. This right here is fairly open, so it's not too bad, but as far as taking them deep in the timber or the brush, I just don't do it. As you see limbs and stuff falling, makes me seem real credible, doesn't it? Let's see if we can push this one around right here. two-hand deal here. Gosh darn it. Run that guy over. On the pickup right here, we'll take two at once. Hard getting around in this frozen ground and snow, just want to slide everywhere. We had some people comment on that a few weeks ago. The best one I heard was something about putting screws in my tire, my tracks or something. Needless to say, we won't be doing that. We'll just deal with slipping and sliding. Ease through these ditches here. Yeah, starting to be a pretty good bunch of logs. Kind of wrap around this little circle drive here. Back we go after another set. All in all, not too bad of a day with logging with just the skid steer. Like I said, normally we don't like to just log with the skid steer unless it's extremely open or piling treetops. Now we do from time to time, but that's definitely not the reason I have both of these machines. But we're just trying to make do today with production and take care of the cleanup as well. So yeah, it's like I said, it's a pretty decent day for just using the skid steer. This pile wraps on around here. Now we're going to come back in the morning and get after it again, because a lot of this timber, like these little patches here you see, they're just chocked full of walnut timber, obviously. So we've got several more to cut, and we left off right there. You can kind of see that treetop. I've got the skid steer sitting there kind of on the ramps. That way in the morning, hopefully it won't be froze down. We cleaned out around our drive sprockets and rollers. So hopefully we won't be froze down in the morning. We can run, have a good day. We'll probably head back home tomorrow evening. I've got some things to do. I've actually got to get started on a job in Springfield, a clearing job for a new subdivision. I've got to get started on it Friday. The guys are going to be there with the track hose and start laying trees over. And I just kind of got to go over with the contractors to show them what we want to keep on it, because you know, we're both kind of third party on it. It's a contractor and we're the contracted logging company, so we got to get together and be on the same page. Which, great guy called me this morning, kind of let me know, get me in the know about when they were wanting to start and get a game plan on it, and that's always nice. So this should be a really good job here at Platte City, Missouri. Just needed to kind of get going on it. These aren't the super good quality trees by any means. We've got some good stuff to cut here on the job, but these are just kind of a bunch of lumber, but got some size to them. I'll definitely take them. Guys, we're going to go up here to DeKalb, Missouri and look at another job real quick before we head in for the night. We'll see you tomorrow. If you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for all of our latest videos.